So once again, this object I have on my lap is a musical instrument. It was invented in the year 2000. It was first sold in the year 2001. I saw it myself in the year 2005. When I saw it, I was quite content knowing that someone else played it. I didn't actually want to have it straight away. I saw someone playing it. They were sat cross-legged, and it was in a tent. There was loads of music happening, rain happening outside. There was someone playing a guitar distorted with lots of solo, a drum player, keyboard player playing this psychedelic chaos. And there was this guy called Chris who just sat down cross-legged on the floor, just content, just like having all this chaos happening around him. And he was just basically tapping on it, just using his hands like this, That's okay, please. It's the instrument. So basically, as you can see, it gives a wonderful tone. In the center I have a D, A, C, D, E, F, G, A, and a B flat. So basically the way it's working is, if you can see each one of these different dents, each one's a different note. So the same as on the piano, how you'd have a long string for the bass and a short string for the treble. On this, I've got a large circle for my bass and a small circle for my treble. So my journey with this instrument, when I first began to play it, I used to do this with one hand. And then from this it expanded. So yeah, that's what I started doing with one hand, like this. So as I say, when I first initially got this instrument, so I saw it in the year 2005. I became very good friends with the guy who was playing it, you can imagine. He changed my life immensely. Up until that point, I'll give you the whole story. Okay, so I was the first baby born in Essex in 1984, on New Year's Day. Strangely enough, as I was growing up, I realised that 9 months premature to that was actually April the 1st. So cheers, Mum, cheers, Dad. So yeah, and so basically I grew up in just on the outskirts, about 12 miles from the centre of London, and I was a naughty little boy, So yeah, basically when I was 11 years old, I actually became a drummer in a military marching band. I looked a bit different then, very shiny shoes, performed for the Queen by the age of 13 and loads of other boring stuff like that, And at that age, I actually started travelling with this band as well. So we actually toured extensively in Germany, Spain, France, all over the place really. And yes, I got used to being with a group of people playing music. I was actually the bass drummer. So you imagine I was there with the bass instrument like this on my chest, you know. I was able to see about this much because the hat was coming down here, the instrument was here. Occasionally I'd turn around and knock the cymbal player out of the way. So it really taught me an important thing about looking out for the guys who are smaller than you know, whilst giving a strong basis for everyone else to be keeping the rhythm to. And yeah, by the age of 14, I was a naughty, let's say, maybe the wrong group of friends, who knows. So basically I was thrown out of one school, thrown out of another school. Every time I was thrown out of school, I had to travel further to my next school. So some people say I furthered my education. But in essence, really, I had to get further away. So when I was 14, my mother sold the house in Essex, and I moved to Lincolnshire, which is about 200 miles north of London. And at that point, I began to play the guitar, which I fell in love with as my meditation. You know, I actually found that by laying on my bed with the guitar on my lap, playing along to Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath was my meditation. It was amazing. The amount of times my mum came in and found me asleep, like with the guitar sort of here, you know. So obviously I had like the strings and the big amplifier and the vibration was carrying through. Very good fun. So I enrolled when I was 16 years old into a college and studied music for 2 years. I did a BTEC National in Popular Music, which basically taught me how to facilitate other people's needs. For instance, we had lots of people who were singers and they didn't want to play over backing tracks. So we were constantly always playing for other people, which is quite nice. You know. But by the end of 2 years of doing this, I kind of got bored of playing the guitar, but I still loved it. And I realized to have a job in the industry somewhere, I needed to find something to do. So I repaired my own guitar, which was broken. And about 3 or 4 weeks later, I had a friend come to me with their broken guitar. So I fixed their guitar. So I enrolled in Leeds College of Music and studied strings, musical instrument technology in a BTEC higher diploma. So I turned into a luthier, a carpenter. I made instruments. I made electric guitars. Once finishing that course is when I found this guy called Chris playing this instrument at a festival. He really changed everything. So at that point I was a guitarist, obviously. So seeing him play this, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so I kind of decided not to play the guitar for a bit and I started playing African percussion. So if I play the bottom of this instrument, it's a bit like actually a South Indian instrument called ghatam. I'll get to that in a second. So some of the first rhythms I was playing was, which you can imagine it's quite a dancey beat. It makes you want to move. And it's a West African rhythm called Jansa. It's hundreds of years old. So I had tuition. I went to Africa 4 or 5 times, learning how to play the African djembe, came back to England, and then I got this instrument. So I started translating what I'd learnt from the African tribal sides onto this instrument, which hadn't been done before, as far as I was aware, you know. So once again, instruments from Switzerland, only 12 years old. I've got to keep repeating this, or you tap me in the shoulder, you know. So instruments from Switzerland, it's only 12 or 13 years old. I got mine about 5 or 6 years ago. And for the last maybe 5 years, I've dedicated my entire time to this instrument, or the last 4 years. Basically, I was working on a building site, because I was a carpenter from university. I learned how to use all the tools. So I went straight onto the building site, gave me more money. So at that point, I kind of realized, okay, what do I want more? Oh, I should add, actually, my boss brought a hammer onto my finger and smashed it. So I had a bit of time off work to think about this, you know. And I decided that, well, okay, I can guarantee I will earn this much money by Friday, or I could basically live my passion and play an instrument which hasn't been played before and try and travel with it. I'm now on, I think it's 23 countries I've been in the last 18 months. And I don't know, but the thing is, it goes even further, because at one point there was actually a video of me which got put on the internet. It's reached 5.5 million views now, which is unbelievable. I never expected. But the whole thing about it was that he didn't put my bloody name in it. He filmed me on the street, you know. And I kind of saw the internet as this amazing place it's amazing, you know. When I first got this instrument, I went to YouTube. There wasn't any videos there. There was like no videos at all that I could learn from. So I had to experiment with myself. A few years down the line, obviously, I've kind of realized the powers of it. And now with the whole YouTube phenomenon, it's pretty amazing, because I've actually put all my music on the internet as open source. So that basically means you can feel free to go to my website and you can download for donation. The same as you would if I was playing in the street. If you wanted to give me a coin, you can. If you don't, great, you know. And since doing this, I've kind of realized that obviously what I've tried to be doing is trying to bring in one of the ancient traditions of traveling and playing music into the modern day, where the internet is basically working for me in a way, where it's basically busking. You know, it's performing for me. So if anybody wants to contact or, you know, sort of book me or anything like this, or manage to download the music, it's there if you want it. You can pay nothing. You know, so it's the same as like flicking a coin to someone you see in the street who's good, you know. Anyway, so without any more ado, I will play another song. Sorry, I've been talking too much. I drank coffee. So I should tell you, this in my right hand, they're called kas-kas. This is something I picked up in West Africa. It's basically 2 seed pods and a bit of string. There's no sort of magic to it. It's just you learn how to shake it, But it's a few thousand years old in design, and it's quite nice. So with that, this is the rhythm section, the right side. I'll put it over here somewhere. With my left hand, I can play the melody. So I've got 8 minutes left, and I'll just jam it out if that's okay with you. So thank you guys, because without you guys being here, there's no point me sort of sitting on this stage and playing. That's the whole point about it. I haven't made myself. I basically took it upon myself to follow my passion. 5 years ago I received this instrument, and since then I haven't regarded the money as the main factor for inspiration to play. Okay, it gets me on an airplane, it pays for the hotel, it allows me to help my mother with the mortgage, so it's all beautiful stuff. But it's like this, as a musician I kind of realized a long time ago, you'll never go hungry. So thank you for keeping that alive. This classification of instrument is called handpan. It was only invented 12 years ago, and there are plenty of people on the planet who are trying to copy this instrument, and they're innovative, they're changing it, they're making it different. This one only has so many notes on it. There's people now who are trying to make them with the whole scale on both sides. And just before I finish, I just want to play on this side for a few seconds, because this is basically actually where I started, to tell the truth, because the other side confused me too much. It didn't come with instructions, and like I say, in YouTube at the time, there was no videos. So yeah, this is an age-old rhythm called Jansa, or my interpretation of it.